In this video, we're going to go over a set of example construction plans for a subdivision. This is the subdivision example that we're using for the class, the Dominguez Estates. So what I want to talk about is each of the sheets and what's required in each sheet. This is an approved set of plans, and you can tell that by all these little icons here, revised, such and such. You can even see the revision clouds here. These are an approved set of plans, and it's telling you that a right-of-way permits required, 5-foot sidewalks are required, special notes, excavation permits required, NDEPS permit is required, blah, blah, blah. So this is when it was approved. Now, the other thing that you've got in this set of plans on the cover sheet is you're always going to give it a title, who it's constructed for, what type of development it is, the location that it's at, and the section, township, and range. Also on the cover usually is some type of legal description. Now, not always. Sometimes the legal description is put on a second page with the boundary and topographic information. Another set of information that you have on this is this information right here, the index of sheets. It's basically telling you what sheet numbers you have and what's on each of those sheets. So the first sheet, this one right here, is the cover sheet. The second sheet is pre-development drainage map. Third sheet is a horizontal control plan. Fourth sheet, grading plan. Fifth sheet, utilities. Sixth sheet, and notice it has A and B. Originally, when they started developing it, probably they messed up and didn't have enough sheets associated for their off-site utilities, so they ended up having to create an A and a B so they wouldn't lose their sheet numbering. Same here, 9A, 9B. That happens as you're designing. Now, you also have project site details, sewer and water information and details, and lift station details. So the next thing that you have on this set of plans is the development notes. This doesn't always occur on the cover sheet in this fashion. A lot of information of it does, but they went ahead and developed and put all the development notes on one set of plans. If it was a very large development, it would actually go in a DO, a development order report, and be submitted as a separate item when submitting for subdivision plans. But here's where they put the development notes. So let's talk about the development notes. The purpose is construction plan approval, date plan. The project is to be constructed in one phase. The size of this development is 16.28 plus or minus acres. The number of lots, we have 67 lots, and those lots are going to be single-family unit dwellings. The density here is 4 units per acre. That is based on, if you look down here, the zoning. The current zoning is R1. So we have to look at the zoning for our project. So we'll go to the properties appraiser's office and figure out, excuse me, how many or what our zoning is. We'll take a look at the zoning around us and see if R1 still fits our needs. So the other information that's on here is that it says maximum building height is 35 feet. That's normal. Maximum building coverage, 35% of your lot can only be building. The net minimum square foot living area, minimum has to be 1,400 square feet. The soils on site, this is different. You don't always put this information in the development notes. The reason they're doing so much in the development notes is because they're using this as a master set of design plans. They're submitting this to the stormwater management districts, and they have to tell the stormwater management districts what type of soils are on site. The proposed school age population, this is another thing. In the development order, typically you would put this information in a larger scaled plan. But since this is only 67 lots, they're not creating a whole set of development order report for this project. Based on the R1 zoning, the minimum lot size has to be 5,000 square feet, the minimum lot width 50 feet, and the minimum lot depth 100 feet. This is required when you start to lay out your project. And we're going to be doing R1 zoning for our project as a bare minimum. So your lots have to be 5,000 square feet, 50 feet minimum lot width, 100 feet in lot depth. The other thing that it has on here, it says a 6-foot masonry to be constructed along the Votile Road maintained by the HOA. Now, when we have different land uses, typically from residential to industrial, we'll have to put some type of barrier or landscape island or something to split the different types of uses. It says, is there any existing structures? This one says none, but on ours, we'll actually, if we were doing a real set of construction plans, we would actually have to create a demolition plan to get rid of that existing house on our project. The finished floor elevation of all lots may fluctuate between 1 foot to from the existing grades. That means that the existing ground out there, they're proposing, and until we finish the exact layout of the project, we won't know what our elevation difference between existing grades is. The next thing that says is there are no wetlands, so we'll have to confirm that. The next part says traffic count 67 lots times 9.55 TPD equals 840 TPD. That's basically the traffic per day. So we're looking at, based on that, this tells us how our asphalt or how our roadway needs to be built based on our trips per day. So in this one, since it's 67 lots and they're assuming based on the use of single-family residential that you have 9.55 trips per day, then a total of 840 trips per day is going to be in and out of the project. Now the next line says it's in a flood zone Z and which panel that it's associated and the date. The next one says there's going to be sidewalks. The next one says sidewalks aren't always required in subdivisions. Out in the rural areas like where I live, we don't have sidewalks in front of our houses. The next one says the subdivision utilization of a single access point, a no outlet sign will be posted. That means when people go by, if they ever drive into your subdivision, it means there's only one way in, one way out. So that's why it says no outlet. The next part says, prior to final approval, the developer shall provide a letter from the gas company stating that the proposed work within the gas easement has been approved. This is huge. Because there's an existing gas main next to our project, and in this project, we have to be careful what type of utilities when we're connecting to that existing proposed road that's on the east side of our project. The tax parcel IDs are listed also, so we'll only have one. The next one says all easements shall be recorded prior to the city signing the DEP clearance. Now, this was for the sewer and water. The other thing that we have existing utilities on our site. We have to see if those utilities were put under easements, and if they were, then we will have to remove those easements from the project. Okay. The next line says the developer shall pay for the cost of the Cicada system installed by the city of Apopka. That means, Cicada means that it is for the sewer and water. It's based on how the mains are installed and maintained for the wastewater. Line 32 says the construction plans were prepared in accordance with Orange County regulations and specifications with the FDOT Green Book Manual for Uniform. This is just telling you how the roadways was designed, this statement here. Now, in our projects, I want you to create this information right here. You'll give me a list of your sheets, and then you'll create the development notes. Your notes will look real similar to these notes here to give you an idea, but you will put in your information. So we will be using, probably most of us will be using the R1, and we will be using the setbacks. Now, as part of the project, you will actually have to locate and show me where this information is coming from, so you'll know how to access it from the Orange County website. Now, on this side of the page is just information on who developed the plans and who they were developed for, the engineer, the surveyor, the geotech, the environmentalist, the soils people, soil scientists, and who the approving agencies are. Okay? Now, this is what you'll have for sheet 1. The other thing that's on sheet 1 is you'll have who drew it, sheet numbers, the scale of the drawing. There should be, in the rest of the sheets, there'll be north arrows, listing it as the cover sheet, where it's located, who's doing the design, and this part here is actually for the engineer to sign and seal. Okay, you'll also have on your front cover a location map. So where the project is actually located. All right, so this is the discussion on your cover sheet. So I'll be going over each sheet and what's required on it for our project as I go through.